Just 88 teams remain in the Texas high school football playoffs. We'll cut that number in half again in the regional finals. These are the picks. Welcome into the picks, your guide to Texas high school football playoffs. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. And so that happened. After one of the most jaw-dropping, gobsmacking, bracket-busting weeks in Texas high school football recent history, we are through to the regional finals with 8 teams left in every bracket. And in 1A, we're going to be punching our first 4 tickets to AT&T Stadium in the 6-man semifinals. Every game across the state is huge. It's a massive game. If you've made it this far, you're a pretty darn good team, and you're playing a pretty darn good team. We've got fantastic matchups everywhere you look. We start in Cypress. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Cy-Fair FCU Stadium in Cypress. It's a 4A Division I regional final between the Tyler Chapel Hill Bulldogs and the Little Cypress Mauriceville Bears. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number 1, the Bulldogs' fabulous freshmen. So Chapel Hill's going to be a problem. They're obviously a problem this year, right? They're into the Elite 8 of 4A Division I. But they're going to be a problem next year and the next year and the next year. Because take a look at their quarterback and their running back, who have been stirring the drink for this offense that's averaging more than 40 yards per game. And they're just freshmen. Demetrius Brisbane, the quarterback, has been outstanding, a real feel for the game, and I feel like he stepped up his game in the playoffs. And then running back Ricky Stewart has been outstanding as well. These 2 youngsters have really carried the load for the Bulldogs. That's the risk-reward of playing young stars, right? They don't have a ton of experience, so there are going to be some rough around the edges moments, but as they grow, they can grow exponentially, and that's what they're doing right now. That's the challenge that Little Cypress Mauriceville faces against these young stars. So, can Chapel Hill's young stars step up on the big stage? Key number 2, bear down. Little Cypress Mauriceville's defense is on one right now. They have been absolutely fantastic. Go look back at last week, their regional semifinal win over El Campo, where they took on one of the hottest offenses in the state in the Rice Birds, and they more or less bottled them up. It was a really impressive performance, especially from the front 7 led by Amir Washington and Dean Reynolds. That front 7 is going to be critical if they're going to come away with this win. I think that LCM wants to win a more low-scoring slugfest and lean on that defense. They're certainly good enough to do that, especially if they can make Chapel Hill one-dimensional. So, what does the Bears' defense have to say about this? And key number 3, the moment. So, I don't think either of these teams were supposed to be here. Kind of for different reasons, right? For Tyler Chapel Hill, this is a team that's been up and down all year. They started off hot, rose into the top 5 of Dave Campbell's Texas Football 4A Division I rankings before going on a real rough skid and finishing 4th in their own district. That's right, a 4th place finisher into the regional finals. Little Cypress Mauriceville under new coach Eric Peavy, they were 1-7 last year. We picked them last in their district in the magazine. Go check it. Yeah. And yet here they are playing for a spot in the state semifinals. But this is a big moment. This is the biggest stage that either of these teams have played on, and I think it's reasonable to expect that they didn't really expect to be here. But they're here now, and they have an opportunity to step one step closer to AT&T Stadium. Who can seize the moment? Who am I picking? I'm going with Chapel Hill. The Bulldogs get the nod here because of the balance they have offensively. They can run the ball with Ricky Stewart. They can throw the ball with Demetrius Brisbane. I think a lot of Little Cypress Mauriceville's success last week against El Campo is that they were taking on a team that ran the ball really well, but didn't really have a great plan B. They're going to be facing a team that has a plan B in Demetrius Brisbane if they're able to slow down the running game. Furthermore, this Chapel Hill defense has not been elite, but they have a feel for the moment. They have a knack for the big play. They come up with the play when they need it. I think this game's going to be close. It's probably a 1-score game, but I think the Bulldogs move on to the state semifinals. Let's go to 6A Division I, 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon at Tiger Stadium in Dripping Springs. The Region 4 title is on the line as the San Antonio Brennan Bears take on the Lake Travis Cavaliers. San Antonio Brennan, the last San Antonio team standing in the 6A ranks, and for a long time we've thought that they're the best team in the Alamo City, kind of proving it right now, and boy howdy. Quarterback Ashton DeBose is a superstar. I mean, he's not a star in the making. He's a star right now. He's been unbelievable. Let's just put it this way. He has thrown the ball almost 300 times this year. He has 1 interception. 1. He has been an absolute dynamo. He's also their leading rusher. He is one of the very best players in Texas hard stop. The defense has also been very good, but what happens when they take on Lake Travis, a team that has won 17 straight playoff games against San Antonio teams? That's right. Lake Travis has dominated the Alamo City. They have not lost a playoff game to a San Antonio team since 2004. This year's Lake Travis team seems like they're rounding into form. It looks like quarterback Bo Edmondson's really playing very well. DJ Johnson, the running back, has been exceptional, and the defense has stepped up in a big way. Now, the defense has been vulnerable to big-time offenses. Go back and look what happened when they played Westlake. So they're going to have to be on their A game to slow down Ashton DeBose and this Bears team. That said, it's hard to pick against a streak like that. Austin has straight up dominated San Antonio recently. It's hard to pick against that. I think the Cavaliers move on to the state semifinals. To 5A Division I we go. 7 o'clock Friday night at McLean Stadium in Waco. The Region 2 title is on the line as the Denton Ryan Raiders take on the College Station Cougars. This is number 1 versus number 2 in 5A Division I. It's a game we've been waiting for, and we're getting it this week. College Station has looked like the most complete team in Texas so far this season. I mean, I don't think there's any other way to put it. They have looked absolutely outstanding. Marquise Collins, their running back, I think he's the best player in Texas right now. Like, what he's doing right now is unmatched. He's been unbelievable. Their offensive line has been great. Quarterback Jet Huff has been making big throws. Their defense has been mostly great. They got pushed last week against Frisco Wakeland, and that is going to be a little bit interesting. They're taking on a Denton Ryan team whose offense last week showed some signs of life. They came to life a little bit. Quarterback Kalen Davis had a great game against Longview, but the defense also got pushed around a little bit, kind of for the first time this season, and that is really going to be an interesting matchup in this one. I think the key matchup here is the College Station offensive line against the Denton Ryan front seven led by Anthony Hill Jr. That is pure strength on strength. I mean, you're talking about an outstanding offensive line going up against one of the most ferocious front sevens in the state. If Marquise Collins and College Station is able to run the ball like they have been the past couple of weeks, the game is over. Okay? College Station is going to win, and they might win big. But if Denton Ryan can slow down the running game and make them a little bit more one-dimensional, then it is game on, and we could be in for a real fun one. Another thing to keep in mind, these are two of the very best special teams units in the state. They are going to be sharp in this game. That, in a close game like this, it could come down to that. In the end, I look at College Station. I think they are the most balanced, most complete team in 5A Division I. I think they get a narrow win over Denton Ryan. In 3A Division II, 7 o'clock Friday night at Northwest ISD Stadium in Justin, it's the Region 2 final between the Gunner Tigers and the Holiday Eagles. You know, we haven't talked a ton about Gunner this year, despite being the number 2 team in 3A Division II all year long, and it's because there's not really a ton to talk about. They've just been blasting people. I mean, like everyone in their path, they've just been shooing away with reckless abandon. But make no mistake, this team is really, really good and has an opportunity to win a state championship. Quarterback Hut Graham has taken his game to a next level. They're running the ball really well with Ethan Sloan and company. That pistol option offense is really hard to stop. And the defense ranks second in 3A Division II. They've been absolutely dominant. There is a question about strength of schedule, right? Because they've been dominating teams, but the teams they've been dominating, I think they're just a lot better than. Well, here's Holiday. I think this is the best team Gunner has played this season. Holiday has gotten a big games the past couple of weeks from their do-it all-star Jax Johnson. Peyton Marchand, their quarterback, has been on point as well. The defense has been very good all year long. I think for Holiday to pull the upset, and make no mistake, it would be an upset in this matchup of unbeatens. If Holiday's going to win it, they have got to play ball control. They've got to keep the ball away from Gunner, go on long, sustained drives, make sure that you keep the ball out of the Tigers' hands. That's their best way of winning this ball game. In the end, I think Gunner's just a little bit too much. I think they're going to win another regional title. I think the Tigers get the victory. To 2A Division I we go. 7 o'clock Thursday night at Memorial Stadium in Victoria. The Region 4 title is on the line as the Shiner Comanches take on the Refugio Bobcats. And here we are, right? We thought we were going to get this game, and we got it. Number 1 versus number 2 in 2A Division I going at it for a spot in the state semifinals. And these two teams know each other really well. They're used to seeing each other deep in the playoffs, and they're going to put on another fantastic show. Both these teams know what the other is going to do, right? Shiner's going to line it up behind their big offensive line, and they're going to run the ball. With Doug Brooks and Dalton Brooks, they're going to try to pound Refugio into submission. On the other side, Refugio is going to use their freshman quarterback, Keelan Brown, who's been sensational, and get the ball out to their playmakers, guys like Jordan Kelly on the outside, Antoine Gross. They want to get the ball out in space and let their athletes roll. And by the way, we're dealing with two of the very best defenses in 2A Division I. They're both ranked in the top 5 in scoring defense. So how do you split these two, right? They've both been dominant. Neither of them has played a competitive game in about 10 weeks. And so what's the difference? Here's what this game comes down to me. It comes down to 1st and 10 for Shiner. That is the name of the game. Because if Refugio can get them into 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 9 and get them behind the chains, that is where the Refugio defense wants them to be. If Shiner's getting 4 yards on 1st down, then they're going to grind their way to long sustained drives and they're going to take the will out of this Refugio team. It's kind of what happened last year whenever they met up. It's so hard to call this game. I mean, these two teams look so evenly matched that it's going to come down to one play here, a special teams mistake here, or a fumble here, something like that. In the end, I give the nod to the defending state champs, Shiner. I think that running game is going to be able to get it done. I think the defense makes one extra stop. I think the Comanches move on to the state semifinal. And we will punch our first 4 tickets to AT&T Stadium this week in the 1A ranks. A 1A Division I state semifinal, 6 o'clock Saturday night in Dublin, as the unbeaten May Tigers take on the unbeaten Abbott Panthers. You know, May rose to the number 1 spot in our rankings early in the season and never let up. The reigning state runners-up look like they are on a mission, and they have walked a really tough path to get here, beating Jonesboro and Water Valley in consecutive weeks. Running back Caden Hawk has been outstanding, and the defense has been the star attraction for May. For Abbott, this is a team that we thought was going to be good, but maybe not this good, and the running game has been outstanding. Robert Munoz and Aiden Sestala have been exceptional running the ball, and their defense has been very good, but this is their biggest test to date. They're going to need to play their best defensive game of the year to make it to AT&T Stadium. This is a true coin flip type game in my opinion. I think this game is going to be one of those instant classic 6-man games. I give the edge to May on the offensive side because they've got the single individual best playmaker in Caden Hawk, but expect an instant classic. I think the Tigers go back to AT&T Stadium. But those are far from the only big games in the regional finals of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. Let's get to the lightning round. In 6A Division I, I think Duncanville wins a rematch with DeSoto. I think Galena Park North Shore edges out Atascocita in another rematch. And in a matchup of big-time brand names in the DFW Metroplex, I think Southlake Carroll edges out Allen. 6A Division II now, I like Denton Geyer over Prosper in another rematch. And I'm hopping on board the bandwagon. I think Tomball moves on to the state semifinals with a win over Bridgeland. I like Katy to take down Humble Summer Creek in a huge game in the capital city. I like Austin Westlake over Austin Vandegrift. It's a trio of rematches in 5A Division I. I think Mansfield Summit gets some revenge over Colleyville Heritage. I'm going with Corpus Christi Flower Bluff to take down Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial for the 2nd time this season. And Katy Pato punches its ticket to the state semifinal with a win over Fort Bend Hightower. 5A Division II now. Wichita Falls Rider and Lubbock Cooper are playing for the 8th time in 4 years. Yeah, that's the thing that's happening. I like Ryder in a very close one, and I think defense leads Texas High to a win over Crosby. Believe it, South Oak Cliff gets a win over Lucas Lovejoy, and I like Liberty Hill to edge Alamo Heights. 4 Division I now, give me Wichita Falls Hershey in a close one over Springtown. Stephenville wins a classic over Melissa, and I'm going with Austin LBJ to take down district rival Fredericksburg. 4 Division II now, Salina takes down rival Aubrey, and Gilmer gets a close win over Pleasant Grove. China Spring keeps it rolling with a win over West Orange Stark, and Cuero avenges a regular season loss to Geronimo Navarro. 3 Division I now, I like West to win a battle of unbeatens over Mount Vernon, and give me Brock to take down Whitesboro. Almost too close to call, but I like Vanderbilt Industrial over Lago Vista, and Lorena goes to the state semifinals with a win over Diboll. 3 Division II now, it's a rematch in Region 1. I like Lubbock Roosevelt over Abernathy. It is an absolute speed trap in Region 3. I like Wascom over Dangerfield, and it is a slugfest in Region 4. Give me Franklin over Poth. 2A Division I now, Crawford edges out Marlin. Timpson gets by Centerville, and I like Cisco in a close one over Hawley. 2A Division II now, I'm going with Stratford just barely over Wellington, and I think Albany knocks out defending state champ Windthorst. Mart takes down district rival Chilton, and keep an eye on this one, but I like Falls City very close over Burton. And who is heading to AT&T Stadium for the 1A state championships? In 1A Division I, I like Westbrook over Happy. In 1A Division II, I'm going with Motley County over Klondike, and and I like Strawn over Richland Springs. And those are the picks. That's all 44 UIL Texas high school football games this week. So now you can let me know, what am I wrong about? Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And of course, see us at texasfootball.com, where you can find complete coverage of the 2021 Texas high school football playoffs at texasfootball.com/playoffs. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the regional finals of the Texas high school football playoffs. We'll see you.